Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, at the Red Bull Ring in Austria in the Styrian Mountains for the round 2 and race 4 of this year's Asset Cup Series and, more importantly for now, Eastern European TCR. It's the second round of the 2022 season. We started it 2 months back in Hungary at the Hungaroring just outside the country's capital of Budapest. Have now moved on with the season to Austria, the Red Bull Ring. We missed it for the past 2 seasons because of COVID restrictions and the cancellations and the calendar amendments, but now we are back in the Styrian Mountains, which is making a great scenery for this round of the championship. Cars lining up on the starting grid, and as already mentioned also in the Renault Clio Cup race earlier on, the rules state that the starting grid and its order of race 2 is decided by the results of the race number 1, however, with a certain number of positions reversed, and how many positions that is decided by the draw by the race 1 winner. It is usually, or it's always, between 6 and 10 places. Yesterday we had a brand new winner in the Eastern European TCR. It's the series newcomer Patrick Zing, the local driver who managed to score a victory on his first attempt yesterday, when he made a great start actually, and then worked his way through to the race lead, which he then never surrendered, even though he was under pressure pretty much all through the race from Petr Cížek. And Patrick Zing, well, you might actually say that it was his first time making a draw in the Eastern European TCR, because he couldn't really do much worse than that. He picked out the number 9, which means that he goes all the way down to 9th on the starting grid for race number 2. Of course, that's always just a chance and a fortune, so no hard feelings against Patrick Zing. Either way, he's going to start 9th, and it is going to be Radim Adamek on pole position. Radim Adamek fighting for the colors of the Aditis Racing team, and alongside him, his new teammate Vít Smejkal, running the older Cupra Leon in this championship round. On row number 2, that's Tomáš Řepecký and Levente Lošonci with the VW Golf and Alfa Romeo Giulietta respectively. Franjo Kovač, he's going to line up further down the grid because he was hit with technical trouble just like his teammate Milenko Vukovic. Both of them did not finish yesterday's race, even though Milenko Vukovic was actually starting from pole and he was leading the race. However, then technical trouble came and he was forced to retire. It was actually a race of a pretty big attrition yesterday. As many as 6 cars didn't make it to the finish, which basically only left the top 10 to complete the full race distance. Milovan Vesnič was also out for technical trouble. Žarko Knego and Karol Wittke, even though they are not teammates, they drive the same machinery, the current generation of Cupra Leon, and both of them were hit with the same technical trouble. This is Žarko Knego, Croatian driver, also receiving wishes of best luck from Davorin Štetner. Žarko Knego, I was already mentioning, he was hit with a problem with the high pressure pump that simply let go yesterday. Same happened to Karol Wittke, which was a shame for him as well, because he was running in 4th at the stage of the race when the pump let go. And this is Milenko Vukovic and his Renault Megane, undergoing the last minute checks to see that everything is fine for this race. The Vukovic Motorsport team will definitely not want to repeat the trouble from yesterday that eliminated both of its cars from the procession. If anything, Milenko Vukovic knows that the car is fast, as he had scored the pole position in qualifying, and the Megane showing a great top speed down the straights, which is definitely going to come in handy in the fights with the rest of the competition. Sanel Cehic, car number 33, he is lining up 10th on the grid. He was last on the road yesterday, and he just missed out on that grid reversing. Karol Wittke lining up 11th. He was actually classified in the end yesterday, but 3 laps down on the race winner as he ran into trouble towards the end of the race. National anthems being played out there for the previous race of Renault Clio Cup that finished just a couple of minutes back. Radim Adamek starting on pole. So he's got a chance to score high for his team. Also, with Wietsmeikal joining him on the front row of the grid. So good chances there for a good result for the Czech squad. And also their other driver, and actually their star driver, Bartosz Groszek, who is still the championship leader. He's there in 6th, so also rather close to the front running positions. He is, however, hit with a heavy ballast thanks to his successes on the opening round of the championship the last time out in Hungary, where he scored pole position and a victory, and he left Hungaroring as the championship leader. We are now starting the formation lap here in Austria. Radim Adamek on pole, alongside him Wietsmeikal, row number 2, that's Tomáš Řepecký and Levente Lošonci. Behind them Sebastian Steibl in 5th and Bartosz Groszek in 6th. Václav Janík, who scored his first podium yesterday, he lines up in 7th, Petr Čížek 8th, and Patrick Zing in P9. I actually have to correct myself, he's not the local driver, he's a German driver, and he's coming to Eastern European TCR from the TCR Germany. This is the map of the track, 10 corners, 4,318 meters, providing good opportunities for overtaking. For example, here into Remus at the top of the hill, one of the hardest braking zones on the track. Sebastian Steibl. He was definitely doing really well last season, and we kind of thought that he would be the so-called black horse of the season. In the end, not all of his promises did materialize in the end, and he is still waiting for his big breakthrough. So Patrick Singh, yesterday's race winner, he lines up 9th. Alongside him on row 5, it's Sanel Cehic. And in 11th, then Karol Wittke from Franjo Kovač. Petr Semerád had also bad luck yesterday. He was fighting for top positions, but his launch control let go at the start of the race. That's why he dropped a lot of positions, but then he did manage to work his way back up. However, Then trouble hit again as his suspension collapsed. Or actually, more precisely, it was the wheel hub that let go as he was trying to fight for second with Petr Cížek, and his left rear wheel simply snapped on its way into Remus, and he then had a big moment with heart in his mouth, approaching the Rauch corner with that downhill braking zone as the car started dancing vigorously. But miraculously, Petr Semerád managed to stay away from all the walls and even from the gravel, and simply parked his car at the side of the track. That was that for his race, but he definitely showed great pace, so that is also a promise of a good race. We've got, let's say, slower cars on the front of the grid, at least on paper. We'll see how they do in the race itself, but there is promise for lots of overtaking action. So Petr Semerád on row number 7, alongside him Žarko Knego, and behind them Milenko Vukovic and Milovan Vesnic. Everything is now ready for the start of this race, so the red lights can go on, and indeed they do. When they will be off, we will be racing, and it is now. We are away. Radim Adamek making a beautiful start from pole position and already driving away from everybody else. Tomáš Řepecký fighting with Vícmejkal into the first corner. Vícmejkal locking up his tires and dropping down to third. Patrik Zing making a wonderful start there from 9th, and he's already up into 4th. Václav Janík behind him in 5th, fighting out with Steibl and also Franjo Kovač, it seems to be. Fight for the lead. Radim Adamek under pressure from Tomáš Řepecký. And leaving the track, Řepecký into the lead. Patrik Zing into 3rd. Radim Adamek dropping down the order, and it is now yesterday's winner, Patrik Zing, up into 2nd already. Down the inside he goes. This is going to be interesting. Radim Adamek leaving the door open to avoid contact. There's also Levente Lošonci in his Alfa, making up positions, slotting behind Václav Janík currently. Řepecký leading from Adamek, who's still defending from Patrik Zing. So I was a bit too quick with that one, and it is already, is it Milenko Vukovic already up into 3rd? That would have been an amazing start from the Swiss driver. So we are completing the opening lap of the race with the VW Golf of Tomáš Řepecký leading the way. Patrik Zing running across the track from left to right. Řepecký leading, and it is indeed Milenko Vukovic in 2nd with his super fast Renault Megane. 4 abreast there into the first corner. There are both full-in Race Academy Cupras of Karol Wittke and Petr Cížek in the fight. And just look how fast that Megane is. Milenko Vukovic already up into the lead of the race, having started nearly last. He is now leading the race on lap 2. Amazing stuff there from the Swiss driver, trying to make up for all the bad luck from yesterday. Vukovic in the lead from Řepecký, Patrik Zing in 3rd from Václav Janík, who's in 4th there. Then Levente Lošonci and Bartoš Grošek trying to make up some ground. But it's coming hard for him as he's got lots of ballast in his car. Petr Semerád also working his way through right now, overtaking Radim Adamek. So both the front row starters already way down the grid. This is Patrik Singh and Václav Janík, the two Hyundai i30s in third and fourth. Milenko Vukovic already opening gap in the lead of the race. Levent Teloshans in his Alfa under pressure from Bartosz Groszek. Down the hill, the Audi is going to go like crazy. There's contact between the two. Bartosz Groszek was probably a little bit too optimistic now. Three-way. Down the pit straight they go. And as a result of that, Petr Semerád gaining 2 places in one go. I was just about to say that Bartosz Groszek, the worse the heavy car goes up the hill, the better it must go down the hill, which it did, and he immediately tried to attack Levent Teloshans into the last corner. Ooh, snapping hard is the Alfa. Up into Remus. Bartosz Groszek, let's see that again. This is not a place where you usually make an overtaking attempt, and Levent Teloshans was definitely not expecting that one. So there was contact. Both of them went slightly sideways and lost momentum entering the pit straight, which simply left the door open for Petr Semerád. Petr Čížek in trouble. There was probably a contact there. I didn't really notice the beginning of that incident, but we saw him going sideways slightly after presumably a touch with somebody else. Petr Čížek also lost some ground there. Milenko Vukovic leading from, and it's no longer Řepecký because it's Patrik Singh already up into second. Václav Janík making up ground as well, so he's now overtaking the Golf, and so is going to be also Petr Semerád. Petr Semerád already side by side with Řepecký down the pit straight, making up one more place. That VW Golf is already outdated and simply lacks space. And this is a common sight actually, because Tomáš Řepecký makes good starts, and he did one, or he made one today as well, and he moved himself up all the way into the lead of the race, but since then he's been losing positions. Now he is there in fifth, if I'm not mistaken. It's Milenko Vukovic, Patrik Singh, Václav Janík, Petr Semerád, and then Tomáš Řepecký now under pressure from Bartosz Groszek and Levent Teloshans. Behind them, Radim Adámek in 8th from Sebastian Steibl and Karol Wittke. Vesnič 11th, Knegot 12th, Čížek 13th. Víc Mejkal already down in 14th from Franjo Kovač and Sanel Čehić. So first 6 minutes of the race are gone. Patrik Singh trying to get back in touch with Milenko Vukovic in an attempt to make it 2 out of 2 here in Austria. But the race is still going to be long. Tomáš Řepecký getting under pressure from his compatriot. They are both looking forward to the next round in 3 weeks' time, which is going to be contested on their home soil in Poznań. That's where Bartosz Groszek made his debut last year, having missed the opening rounds, but then scoring victory immediately on his debut at the home track. And, as he was on the podium, he probably decided that the champagne tastes so good that he went on to score, I believe, 5 further consecutive podium finishes to end up the season in the fight for 3rd overall, which he lost in the end to Karol Wittke, who managed a perfect weekend to top the season off last year in Brno, where Karol Wittke won both races in his Cupra. Bartosz Groszek finding his way past his countryman Tomáš Řepecký. So up into 5th he goes. Bartosz Groszek remains to be the championship leader. Crucially, he was scoring better than his nearest rivals in the championship. Petr Semerád had a pointless result yesterday, just like Milenko Vukovic. The nearest competitor there was Petr Čížek, who came to Austria in 6th place. Vukovic still enjoying quite a bit of a lead in his Megane RS. He's got more than 3 seconds to his advantage from yesterday's winner Patrik Singh. Petr Semerád in 3rd from Václav Janík, so the Janík Motorsport drivers swapped places. Petr Semerád up into podium positions. He was 4th in race 1 in Hungary and then 2nd in race number 2. Petr Semerád. So he knows he's got pace and he definitely would like to go on to win the championship. The season is going to be long. Milenko Vukovic. Yeah, this is not Renault Clio Cup. It's the Renault Megane RS. Oh, and this must have been a big crash. Karol Wittke, Žarko Knego and Radim Adamek on the outside of Remus. Ooh, and that's big damage to the car of Radim Adamek. That must have been a huge crash there. And I'm afraid this might bring out the safety car. Karol Wittke and Radim Adamek and also Žarko Knego. Yeah, safety car is out. What happened there? Let's see if we can find it. Žarko Knego crashed with Sebastian Steibl, but that was an isolated incident. And right in front of them, it was Radim Adamek and Karol Wittke coming together in the same corner. So 2 separate incidents happening right behind each other. And this is a great shame for Karol Wittke. He would really love to finally start mounting a title challenge because he is the highest scoring driver from last season who has gone on to continue in 22 as well. He was 3rd overall last season, mainly thanks to that double victory in Brno. Žarko Knego. So much bad luck for the Croatian driver. He did a good quali actually yesterday, but then the fuel pump issue ended his race prematurely, just like for Karol Wittke. So both of them had to retire, and right now they are out of contention yet again. Radim Adamek trying to bring his car home, the pole sitter evidently having a collapsed suspension of the right rear tire, of the right rear wheel. He's trying to make it back into the pits, not exactly sure whether that's a good idea, because he might actually cause more damage to his car, trying to bring it home on his own. Žarko Knego and Karol Wittke discussing the situation, but there's definitely not going to be any hard feelings between these two, because these two crashed out in separate incidents. Yeah, Žarko Knego did pretty much exactly the same thing like Karol Wittke. Both of the Cupras, they retired with the same issue yesterday, and now they are retiring with exactly the same accident, exactly on the same lap, exactly on the same corner. Both of them destroying the front left on their cars, having hit opponents who simply shut the door on them. Difficult to judge now, because we did not see that incident properly. It appeared that Sebastian Steibl was trying to avoid the incident that was developing right in front of him. Maybe when that occurred, he was not really concentrating that much on his rearview mirrors, and he simply shut the door on Žarko Knego. So that was that crash, and in front of them there was already an incident between Karol Wittke and Radim Adamek. Levente Lošonci collecting damage on his Alfa, thanks to his touch with Bartosz Groszek earlier on. And the safety car has also deleted all of the time advantage that Milenko Vukovic had before the incidents, which is now going to leave him vulnerable from the attacks of yesterday's winner, Patrick Singh. So Milenko Vukovic leading the race from Patrick Singh. Petr Semerád is third from his team mate and boss Václav Janík. Bartosz Groszek in fifth from Tomáš Řepecký. Levente Lošonci seventh, Milovan Vesnič in eighth, Sebastian Steibl ninth, and Vít Smejkal in 10th place, the only front row starter that is still left in this race. His teammate Radim Adamek already out of contention after that big hit from Karel Wittke. Petr Čížek also continuing, but all the way down in 11th. This race has not been developing very well for him. Franjo Kovač and Sanil Čehić, the only other two drivers on track. Sanil Čehić must have entered the pits recently because he seems to be on his outlap now. Radim Adamek made it back to the pits and retired. Karel Wittke and Žarko Knego, they were eliminated on the spot. Drive-through penalty for car number 33. That's Sanil Čehić for dangerous driving, and that's actually why Sanil Čehić had to go into the pit lane and serve his penalty. But if he did that right now behind the safety car, then he's definitely not going to lose anything. Levente Lošonci still with significant damage. There is a piece of bodywork flapping around from his Alpha, which is definitely not safe for the other drivers, and I wouldn't be surprised if a black and orange flag is showed to Levente Lošonci, which would then force him to pits for repairs. He could be sent out back on track, but his car would need to be safe for everybody else, and also for the track marshals, and also for himself. Really, if that piece of bodywork would end up flying through the air, that could be a nasty projectile. So he might need to come in for repairs. 8.5 minutes left on the clock. Milenko Vukovic still in the lead of the race, and yeah, this is going to take some time. Big damage for the Cupra of Karel Wittke. Same is then valid also for Žarko Knego, who also destroyed his front left completely, and he might be actually simply towed away from the spot if that front left is in at least a slightly better shape than it is on the car of Karel Wittke, which means that we could then hopefully be racing pretty soon. If also the car of Žarko Knego needs to be brought away on a flatbed, then this is going to take significantly longer, and I'm not sure whether we would then see much more of green flag action. Bartosz Groszek trying to make the most of the situation. He is hit with a BOP for this weekend. 40 kilos, I believe it is, sitting alongside him, somewhere where you normally have a passenger. So, in a way, he has got one for this weekend, and it's definitely not a good track, this one, to have a ballast sitting next to you with all the inclines here. But that's simply the price you need to pay for being the quickest in qualifying. It was Milenko Vukovic who was the fastest yesterday in quali. He then retired from the race, but still he proved that the Megane is already up to speed. And that's going to cost him for the Polish round of the championship in 3 weeks' time. However, the circuit in Poznań is flat, actually. There are no uphill, downhill sections, so that's not going to be as painful as it is here in Austria. Yeah, this is the steepest hill. The steepest hill they make here in Austria. And incidentally, there is a track running across it. This is the start of the Renault Clio Cup race. And if I'm not mistaken, that was also the yesterday's one. With Michael Hulm starting from the front row alongside Tobias Poschik. Five minutes left, and the scene of the accident is still not completely clear. I'm also trying to have a look out of my commentary van, because we might actually have a view on that. No, we might not. It's actually hidden from our view. So, unless we see that on cameras, we will not see that at all. But the time is running out pretty fast, and we will not get more of that. These incidents are also why we are racing, or one of the reasons we are racing, not by laps, but by time. That's how the race distance is basically decided. Safety car is back in the pits now. So it is clear already at the scene of the accident. And we are racing with 4 minutes left on the clock, which basically means we should have 3 laps left to go. Milenko Vukovic already trying to open a gap again. And Patrick Zing will definitely attempt not to let the Swiss driver away. But that Megane is simply so fast down the straights. Patrick Zing also needs to keep checking his rearview mirrors, because Petr Semerat definitely wants to make up for all the bad luck from yesterday. He's already up to third. Tomáš Řepecký skipping across the grass there in the fight with Levente Lošonci. Bartosz Groszek trying to stay together with Václav Janík, but not really managing to do so right now. Petr Semerat already having a look down the inside on Patrick Zing. It was just a little glance down the inside to show himself in his rearview mirrors, to probably unnerve the German driver, but the German driver has got experience and has got speed, which he proved to the full extent yesterday. And he was actually under the race-long pressure from Petr Čížek, but did not make any significant mistake. And although he is beatable, definitely was not yesterday. He was a little bit too much for Petr Čížek and also for Václav Janík. That was a really wide exit out of the last corner. The drivers need to be careful about that, because they could then be hit with a penalty if they do that too excessively. first corner they go, 2 laps left. Petr Čížek making a move down the inside on Levente Lošonci, and Petr Čížek is moving ahead. Already up into 9th he goes. Petr Semerád diving down the inside on Patrik Zing into Remus, and up into 2nd he goes. Václav Janík trying to follow suit. Ooh, there's a crash. Levente Lošonci ending up in the gravel at Remus. And I'm afraid this might again bring out the safety car and end the race effectively. So anything that you might want to do, probably better to do it right now. Yellow flags being waved at the scene of the accident. Levente Lošonci beached his car into the gravel. The rest of the drivers still racing under full green conditions at the remaining parts of the track, but at least that spot is going to remain yellow. We still have 1 lap left from this race. Milenko Vukovic doing everything he needs to do to win this race. He made a good restart, immediately opened the gap, and is now far away from Petr Semerád. Semerád making again a wide exit out of the last corner, and into the last lap we go. Vukovic leading from Semerád, Singh and Janík. Bartoš Grošek in 5th. Now exiting the track in the first corner. Bartoš Grošek trying hard for maximum damage limitation here in Austria. He knows it's really hard to score well here with all the kilos he gained for his success in Hungary. So at least he's trying to make up for it as much as he possibly can. Milovan Vesnic out of the track at Remus and rejoining it, but potentially losing a spot to Petr Čížek. Not sure about that just yet, but there might definitely be a fight for 7th between the Serbian and the Czech driver. We are finishing the last lap of the TCR Eastern European race here in Austria. It's the race number 4 of the 2022 season, and we are again going to have a different winner. 4th different winner out of 4 races. It was Bartoš Grošek and Joachim Galáš in Hungary. It was Patrik Zing yesterday, and it's going to be Milenko Vukovic for the first time in his Vukovic Motorsport liveried Renault Megane. Bad luck struck the Swiss driver yesterday, but he's having none of that today, and Milenko Vukovic is victorious at Red Bull Ring. For the second time of asking, finally he made it all the way to the end of the race. Vukovic was also unlucky in Hungary at some points, but in the end he scored double podium, so he was 3rd in both of the races and came 3rd overall here to Austria. He didn't finish the race yesterday, but he's coming away from the 4th one with a victory to his name. Milenko Vukovic, 4th different winner out of 4 first races of the 2022 season, which is shaping up to be a really dramatic and a closely fought one. Petr Semerád finishing 2nd on the road once again, just like he did in Hungary, where he only lost to his teammate Joachim Galáš, who was basically testing the brand new Elantra. Let's see the best of the highlights, or the highlights of the race. Right now, it was a good start from Radim Adámek. Tomáš Řepecký made a crucial move and went through, but beautiful starts from both Patrik Zing and Milenko Vukovic. This was apparently Franjo Kovač in trouble. Slight contact between Grošek and Lošonci that dropped both of them behind Petr Semerád. The Czech driver gaining 2 places at once, and then this crash happened, or these 2 crashes between Radim Adámek and Karol Wittke, and also between Žarko Knego and Sebastian Steibl bringing out the safety car. Peter Semmerad then made this crucial move after the restart on Patrick Singh, and then Levente Loshonzi lost it into the gravel at the back of your picture there in the background, beaching his car into the gravel trap. And that was it for all the action. Jelenko Vukovic then won from the last row of the grid. Peter Semmerad finishing second, and yesterday's race winner Patrick Singh bringing the car home to score another podium. So a great weekend for the German TCR driver, who's come to visit the Eastern European TCR Championship